event. Just a couple of announcements. One, there's a sign-in sheet on every table. It is pre-filled with those who register via the Sign Me Up calendar prior to Tuesday. If your name's not on there, simply find a blank line and fill it in, and we'll take care of the professional development credit from there. Also, at the back table, Christine Kendall from the box office has tickets for the play Uncommon Women. So if you were thinking about attending the play and hadn't had a chance to pick up tickets, you can pick up a ticket from the back table. Of course, you know it is free for employees, but your family and friends will have to pay a small $10 fee if you want them to attend. At this time, and you guys were having great conversation already, so I really hate to break it up. Anybody who's been in a workshop or something with me know I hate to break it up when we're having good conversation. But you also notice that you have bingo sheets on your table. The goal of the bingo sheet is to mix and mingle with the folks in the room for about 10, 15 minutes. The goal is it's not a single line bingo. So it is a full card bingo. Basically, whoever gets the most, I don't know.
No,
We don't have a prize. Whoever gets the
prize
most,
is the satisfaction
the
that you did it.
the prize is just recognition as the quickest, I suppose. But ideally, with the group this large, ideally you would have a person sign a box. No person should have to sign more than one box on any bingo. So, I mean, on any card. So the idea is to mix and mingle, not just with the folks at your table, but with everyone in the room. As you can see, we have a diverse crowd, and we want to take this opportunity to get to know each other. So we're going to take a little, about 10 more minutes to do that. So feel free to get up, move about, grab you some refreshments, water, fruit and brownies and whatnot, and let's get those bingos cards filled in. The contest will end in 1 minute. Five, three, two, one.
Okay, welcome everyone to our Women Moving Forward, the first official event for our Women's Initiative. And we are so happy to welcome the Oviedo campus to their and the Altamont campus to our event. So for those of you here at Sanford, we are simulcasting this to rooms both at Oviedo and Altamont, and we have colleagues there that are also going to do the same things we are doing. So we're excited about that. Okay, oh, I'm supposed to do this. So this is our first official launch and our meet and greet, and you've already done a lot of meeting and greeting of each other, and hopefully you were able to meet somebody you didn't already know from the college. Hopefully that's going to be a win for you today. For those of you that don't know who I am Lisa Valentino, and I serve as the institutional representative for Seminole State College to the American Council of Education's Women's Network. And you're going to hear in a little while about that network and the goals of the network and what it does. But I am our campus representative. I'm serving on a committee on our Women Moving Forward, and my co-chairs are Dr. Jan Lloyd and Janet Balanoff, our co-chairing. We're going to introduce the committee a little bit later, so you'll get to meet all of the wonderful people that are helping us continue to make this initiative work. But the first thing I have the pleasure of doing is introducing Dr. Lorenz and inviting her up to come give some greetings to us. Dr. Lorenz.
Thank you. And I see a few familiar faces from the last event that I was just at, recognizing people for their years of service. So thank you for hanging in and coming to this event too. That's great. And I want to thank Jan and Lisa and Janet for initiating this at Seminole State College. I think this is a really important idea and opportunity, and I'm really glad that we're going to be a part of this. And this event is really the start of a program that is intended to address a national challenge in education. You know, as you go up the career ladder, women represent a smaller and smaller fraction of the employees at those levels of the institution or organization. And the college is working on this by considering the needs of women at every level of our organization. Whether you clean the classroom or teach in it or advise the students that enroll in it, this program is for you. And we're interested in helping with your advancement. And just as a rising tide lifts all boats, both men and women are welcome at these programs, and the same opportunities and advice might be important for any employee. And I would say when we think about social justice issues and reaching equity, whether it be between men and women or people of different ethnic backgrounds or socioeconomic backgrounds, it takes everybody to address that problem. And sometimes those with the most power are really the most important allies and advocates. So we certainly welcome men. Thank you, Kevin and Michael. Are there any others? Oh, Hugh, right. I saw him before. Yes, Hugh. Thank you for being here and being part of the solution, and I think you'll benefit from all of the advice and wisdom that occurs here as well. You know, reflecting on my own career, I think two things that I've really benefited from, and actually it took, so a faculty member at my former institution started working on her doctorate, and she came to meet with me to sort of test out some of her ideas. And she was writing about women in leadership and higher education, and she had kind of settled upon two tools that people seem to have benefited from. And when she sort of explained her ideas to me, I thought, well, that's exactly how I've benefited. And it's really from other people's mentorship and advocacy. So I had a wonderful boss. Jeff Shimizu was the Vice President of Academic Affairs when I was a dean. And he I don't know if he knows how much he did for me, but he really took me under his wing and explained things to me and really, truly mentored me. And it was the first time I'd ever really had a mentor in my life. And then he also really advocated for me. When opportunities came up, for example, he suggested to the president of our college that I be the administrative lead for one of our strategic initiatives. And that was a stretch for me. I would never have volunteered myself for that, but he advocated for me to have that opportunity, and really it was a career-changing opportunity for me. So I guess just keep those two things in mind, whether you're the person who's seeking advancement or you think you have the opportunity to help somebody else, mentorship and advocacy really make a big difference. While more than half of the doctorates awarded last year were earned by women, only 30% of college presidents are women. So that's the pipeline that we want to make more equitable. This is a day to share your opinions on programs that would help you. There might be opportunities to represent the college and the community, to strengthen your negotiating skills, or to understand why the college's standing committees could use you as a valuable member. And please let the steering committee know if any of those interest you, so they might be able to help you find one of those opportunities. And always remember that your talents and your potential make the recipe for this special sauce, setting Seminole State apart as a great place to work. And enjoy, and I hope that you continue to engage in the programs that are offered.
Thank you, Dr. Lorenz, for very well telling everyone what we are doing. She listened when we went and met with her and really, you know, paid attention, that active listening that we try and encourage our students to engage in. My next challenge or task is to introduce Dr. Annie Becker from Florida Tech. She is an executive board member with the ACE Women's Network of Florida, and she is here representing the executive board to kind of give you an overview of what the ACE Network's all about, what the goals are, and a little bit about the Florida Network. So let's please welcome Dr. Becker.
Thank you. Is it turned on? Okay, thank you. You all can hear, I hear myself. So thank you very much for inviting me to come here today to talk to you all about the ACE Women's Network of Florida. It's so exciting, and I'm going to share with you really what's going on here in our wonderful state of Florida. And I got to figure out first how to use this clicker, so. Oh, okay. That was, yeah, it goes right back on. There we go. So here are some of the things that I'm going to cover, and I'll just be quite honest with you. I thought maybe it was a bit of a different audience. It doesn't matter. I'm just really excited to share with you about the ACE Women's Network of Florida. So I won't actually cover perhaps all of these. Some of this information is really targeted towards Lisa. That is the institutional representatives of, and I'll show you a map of the IRs that are across the state of Florida. So it's very exciting for all of us. Here's a little bit about me. So you're wondering, why is Annie Becker up here talking about this? Well, I'm a university professor at Florida Tech. I'm also an assistant to our provost, Dr. Monica Beloga, and in particular for the ACE Women's Network of Florida. I serve on the executive board, And my role on that executive board is I'm the institutional representative state coordinator. So I work with Lisa and others across the state in putting together what we call program plans. And I'll share a little more about that with you. This is part of the program plan. These are activities that are going on at each institution, really, to promote the aspirations of the ACE Women's Network of Florida. I served in some administrative positions. Recently, I was a senior VP for research at Florida Tech. These are all Florida Tech. I served as a dean of our BIS College of Business, associate dean of research, academic chair of online programs, and I also served in several directorships of centers at our university. Lisa Jones could not be here today, so I'm here on behalf of the ACE Women's Network of Florida. I wanted to just show you Dr. Jones a little bit of her bio because she's so inspirational. She's the one who's making this happen. She's at the University of Central Florida. She's the associate provost for strategy there and also a special assistant to the president. You can see she served as an ACE fellow, and she has lots of experience in higher education. To me, what's really important is this paragraph here at the bottom, that she came here to Florida and discovered we did not have an ACE Women's Network unlike all of the other states. In fact, I think almost all the other states, including Puerto Rico, has a network established. Lisa, do you know, is it every state or it's close, right? So there's just, we were one of perhaps a handful of universities, or I don't know, maybe the only one that didn't have an active organization. And so Dr. Jones said, hey, we gotta relaunch this thing. And she did so in May of 2017, and she reached out to all of us. She reached out to Lisa and myself. Actually, she reached out to our presidents and our provosts to ask for volunteers to do this, and Lisa and I were to that step forward and said, sure, we'll do it on behalf of our institutions. So ACE was created back in terms of this component for women's networking, was launched in 1977, and Florida was one of 3 states that joined in, said let's do this. The other 2, New York and California. So that's really was a good start. And then Florida, the network here, actually merged with the Florida Office of Women in Higher Education. So I don't know how long they were active, but I do know they were inactive when Lisa came on board at UCF. And so that's when she said, hey, let's relaunch the ACE Women's Network of Florida. And she got started, and she reached out to 36 institutions across the state. Step 1, we have to get some universities on board to be presidential sponsors. There are 6 of them. And you can see up here we have the University of South Florida, Dr. Genshaft, Mr. Hyde, he's interim president at Florida State College at Jacksonville, Dr. Wendy Libby at Stetson, Dr. Dwayne McKay, my president of Florida Tech, Dr. Mark Rosenberg at Florida International University, and Dr. Dale Whitaker, who's recently become the president at UCF. So these 6 universities are sponsors, and primarily a major goal of each of those universities in participating in ACE Women's Network is to host a conference. And the first one was held last April at UCF. Very exciting. Lisa was there. I was there. Many of the IRs were there. And we just launched this network. And you know, one of the things that came of it is our program planning and coming up with activities such as this one at each of the institutions. Here are all, let me just back up for 1 second and tell you the next one is in April and it's held at Stetson. So Stetson's turn is coming up next. These aren't in order, and I think we might go last. So we have so we have a little time to learn from all the other state conferences that are coming up in April. So the structure of the network, right now we have the presidential sponsors, those 6 universities. We have the state chair, and that's Dr. Lisa Jones at UCF. And then these are the executive board members. I believe there's 12 of them. And these executive board members primarily come from those 6 presidential sponsoring universities. And I'm the IR state coordinator. And at the bottom, you can see that we have institutional representatives on each campus. Originally, Lisa reached out to 36. And I believe now we have 34 active participants. A couple said not this year, we're looking at next year. And also there's one partnership with Florida Consortium of Metropolitan Research Universities. So maybe you'd like to take a look at this chart in terms of how do we all fit in. So at Florida Tech, we're private, we're part of the 35%. And then the balance is sort of split between state universities and state colleges, okay? And here they're just as you would imagine, they're scattered across the state of Florida. And so those are, if we counted them up, I believe there's 34 that are now participating in our network. So maybe I'll just say a little bit about Lisa's role. I'm gonna pick on her because she's the IR. So what does each institution rely on in terms of having an IR in place? Well, we're just getting started. So if we launched in May of 2017, we've only been around for a year and a half. And so what we did, sort of step one in terms of all of us getting engaged in this is, well, as an IR coordinator, I actually reached out to other networks across the nation. And 2 in particular really stood out in terms of how active they were as a state organization. One was Ohio and the other one was Michigan. And so I asked them, could we get some material on what is making your state network so successful? And they both shared resources, which was really awesome. Why? Because each institution, and led by their IR, is putting together each year a program plan. And that program plan is comprised of each semester 2 or 3 activities that are all about promoting leadership. And so Lisa had to do it. I say it like that because it was so much fun. Because we're all getting started. But Lisa did a great job, and so did many of the other institutions. They put together, we call it a program plan. And one of the things in the program plan, in that phase, is to identify a committee at the institution that really supports this institution's network. So in fact, your component of our state network is referred to as the ACE Women's Network of Seminole State College. And on behalf of this local network, so to speak, or this local node is a better phrase, Lisa put together a committee of, and Lisa, members are here perhaps?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Okay. So the committee is really a support system to launch this local node in terms of promoting leadership within. And then also networking across with the other institutions. So for example, at Florida Tech, last couple months ago actually, we held a regional meeting where we invited 16 regional institutions, including Seminole State College. And we all got together and we talked about how can we really promote our, the ACE Women's Network activities and its objectives of really summing it down to promoting opportunities for leadership. And I'm kind of being broader here, but particularly for women in leadership. And so we got together and we talked about, gee, what are perhaps some obstacles that we could overcome? How could we collaborate? How could we network? And how could we strengthen not only our local node, but the whole state organization? And so you can see here, Lisa's pretty busy. I mean, she's going to be doing these annually. And that's good, because that actually is a big issue that we talk about is don't try to do this alone. you'll burn out. Or maybe you'll find barriers that you can't overcome and it'll be discouraging. So you need that committee. And let me see if there's anything else we want to mention. We have I think that's, in addition to a program plan, we also have an annual report. And again, Michigan was so wonderful in giving us these 2 templates. So at the end of this year, perhaps in April, Lisa will be able to share with all the other institutions this wonderful event you're holding today. And so it's very exciting. I'm just really excited about this, and I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to share this at Florida Tech. I think it's great. Okay. Then, and so we just mentioned one of the pitfalls. I'm going to move on because this is really more focused for IRs. Okay? And this one too. But let me point out a couple things on this slide that I think are really important. So we are at the state level are implementing a mentoring system because we feel it's very important for our IRs to gain some knowledge and skills on how to develop a mentorship program locally if they so choose to do so, if the university or college wants to do that. And I think that's wonderful. I know I could use some mentoring. I know many colleagues that actually have asked for some type of mentoring, and you reflected on it, and I think that's just really so important. So we're only now entering our 2nd year, and mentoring has really come to the forefront. Another thing that we're doing, and we just started this, so Lisa, I don't think even knows about it yet. A couple of us on the executive board said, let's start a virtual book club. Why? Because there's quite a few wonderful books on leadership, not just targeting women, but just really targeting leadership in general. Some in industry, some in not-for-profit, some at universities. It doesn't really matter. There are some outstanding leadership books, mentoring, negotiation. The sky's the limit. So we're going to start our virtual book club, and we're going to be launching that later this semester, next semester. So Lisa will be sharing more information with the IRs on that. Okay. I did want to show you that one of the things that has been launched is a Facebook page. So I'm going to just show it to you. I thought about it after I submitted these slides. So the state network has a Facebook page, and I'm going to recommend that we get something posted about this activity. But at the top, you can see Stetson is going to hold the next state conference. That's April 11th. That's where Lisa and I and others will learn about mentoring. The last one, we had a negotiation session, learning about negotiation. So we'll bring that back to our institutions to share that with you all. And I just wanted to show it. But this is a Facebook page that any and all of us can take a look at and share this information. It's just been launched really very recently. So we're looking for exciting topics to be posted on here. And it doesn't have to just be, Florida Trend is great, but it can be research related. It can be, we're looking at posting jobs that would focus on sharing with you all leadership opportunities. And so stay tuned, and Lisa can share that link with you. Any questions? Well, I just want to again say thank you very much for this opportunity. It's very exciting for all of us, and we look forward to learning from each other. And we got to share this event with all of the other institutions. It's great. Thank you.
Dr. Becker, we want to thank you for coming and having all of your ducks in a row, for coming and presenting to us. Each of these ducks represent programs that we have here at Seminole State. I drove all around your campus looking for this building, so I think I've seen them all. But thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, I'll send you all out the link for the Facebook page. There's also on there, it's about the ACE network and the national network, and I certainly encourage you to go look at that so that you can get more familiar with ACE. Certainly as we grow as a group, we'll be looking for people to continue the leadership role and take on new and expanded roles with that. Okay, so let's go back to our next PowerPoint, our other one, and see where we are. I think the other one, yeah, the next slide, you know, because I think now I'm going to introduce Janet. There we go. And Janet's going to come up and introduce the steering committee and all of that. So.
Thank you, Dr. Becker. We appreciate having you here this afternoon. Bring your ducks in a row. To visit us, we have career ducks for you, as Lisa mentioned, and have a wonderful, wonderful visit with us as long as your schedule permits you to stay. We hope that you will stay. It is my pleasure to introduce the steering committee to you. And I start with Mary Beth Calici. Have you made it? Mary Beth, are you here? Mary Beth was helping with the service recognition luncheon, probably is still shepherding people toward their pictures. Here she comes. I'll introduce her again in a minute. Ricky Herrera represents the Career Service Employees Council. Summer Pescatori is the chair. Ricky is our representative. Dr. Kevin Jordan is here. Please stand. He's the president of the Faculty Senate. We appreciate his service. Dr. Shaheen Kanani. Hi, Shaheen. Is at Altamont. She's our Altamont representative, so you have to wave at the screen. Dr. Jan Lloyd-Leslie is here. Jan, where are you sitting? Oh, you're right up front. Hello. Jan is the co-chair with Lisa. We have Dr. Cecilia Larson. Again, everybody wave at the camera. She's hosting in Oviedo. Hi, Cecilia. Barbara LaBranche is here. Stand up and take a bow. She's the head of the Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning. Michael McCurdy is here, instructional designer from eLearning and the chair of the Professional and Technical Employees Council. PTEC now, right? Okay, PTEC now. Hugh Moore is here, the Dean of Business. Lisa Valentino, you have met, our co-chair. Stand up one more time, Lisa. And I'm here. It is my pleasure to say hello to everyone and to say that this is a wraparound program for the college to make sure that as we incorporate the ACE Women's Network of Florida principles for leadership at the top levels, that we also talk to every woman on campus and every person of any type who wants to promote, who is interested perhaps in coming with me or with others to community events where they might meet people, learn to meet and greet, learn other fields, other endeavors, other partners in the community who so help the college, not just in recruiting students, but in taking them when they graduate. We have community partners all over the place. You might come with me to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Metro Orlando. You may come to the African American Chamber of Commerce for Central Florida. Excuse me. You might come with me to the Central Florida Disability Chamber meetings, or it might be that you are coming with me to NAWBO, the National Association of Women Business Owners, Orlando chapter. They have lunch and learns where some might come with me to learn about cybersecurity, bless you, or promoting yourself on Facebook without going into personal details, which is one of their upcoming programs. So I am here, and Mary Beth, did you step in? There you are. You had a wonderful service luncheon. And we welcome Mary Beth and say that she is representing May Ashby, the Associate Vice President for Human Resources on our campus, who also was at Service Recognition Luncheon because she was presiding. So there's some busy, busy people on this campus, and I appreciate the service of everyone on this steering committee. And I welcome you to the next part, which is Jan Lloyd, who is going to talk about the survey you may have completed, and if you haven't, why you should. Jan?
Well, hello again, and I'm excited to share with you information that you basically shared with us. So hopefully you did reply to our survey that went out. If you did not, the survey link is going to remain open until I think December 3rd. So the part of this is we want to know what you want to help women move forward. What can we be doing as a committee to advance your careers and to do what you want to do here at Seminole State or at other places that you want to move on to. So what I'm going to do is briefly highlight some of the survey results. Then what we're going to do is that we are going to break into your tables, and there's tabletop discussions for you then to talk amongst yourselves and make some notes based on the survey results or other things that are written on there. So again, you can tell us what you would like to do to help women move forward. So we'll put up the survey results. Oh, and one administrative task, if we didn't do this, is there is a sign-in sheet at your respective tables. And my apologies if someone made this announcement, but if you signed up through the Sign Me Up calendar, your name is on that list, and if you will just sign in at that list on your table there, then we can make sure that you get credit. If you did not sign up on the Sign Me Up and you're here, thank you for coming. Write your name in and sign off, and we'll make sure you still get credit for that. Okay, so I'm gonna look over here because I can see this, I can't see that, all right? And so just a real quick highlight from the results that we had a total of 71 responses at the time that I put this together. We've had a total of 76 responses overall. As you can see from the responses, can you go back one? There was one about the type for Sanford, Lake Mary, that one, yep. So based on the survey results, we did get a lot of women, and this email went out to women across the campus at all various levels. We had an overwhelming response for people here at Sanford Lake Mary. So I'm looking at Altamont, Oviedo. We had about 11 people at Oviedo respond. Altamont, there was about 5 of you to respond. And so you can see some information here, and we're hoping to get more of our women employees at the other campuses to respond so we can hear from you. So this is what the breakdown looks like for our campuses. And then the next one, I think, takes a look at employee type, if you want to put it that way. I was really excited to see that outside of our administrative people, that we had a really good split between our career service, our faculty, and our professional and tech people. So a little over 30%, around 30% for all of those respective groups. So it wasn't any one type of group that was responding to the survey and swaying information one way or the other. Our next slide. One of the questions we asked was, how often do you want to do these professional development events? And the overwhelming response is that people were really wanting to do things on twice a semester. I'll share a little bit later because I do like data. I went and took the Excel spreadsheet and I divided it out by campus. I divided it out by type to see, like, does this look different for Oviedo? Does it look different for Altamont? And the responses pretty much look the same, despite the different categories and campuses, is that people really wanted to do something twice a semester. So that's what we're looking at, but we want to hear from you how often we should be doing something. Our next response. There we go. All right, so what do we want to do? We came up with a few categories for you to respond to, and what we asked you to do was to rank them. Number 1 being like, I really want to do this, and 4 is like, yeah, maybe I do want to do this, I don't really know. And so as you can see from here, the overwhelming response, especially for 1 and 2s, is that we said that we want to participate in a leadership conference or leadership training for our particular group. I think that's a great thing to do. There are many opportunities in the community, but also what could we possibly host here on campus for people? And likewise, what topics would be most important to you? That's where we need to flesh out and hear from you. What would you want to see in a leadership conference or training? The second thing that was a little bit overwhelming response was exploring resources in regards to professional development, tuition waivers, or conference registration. Not saying that the other opportunities we're not going to explore, I'm just saying that this is what we heard from you in regards to where we want to put our efforts in the initial opportunities that we have. And I will say again, I pulled out the data looking at campuses, and so Altamont, Oviedo over there, I'm letting you know it looked pretty much the same for your respective campuses as it did overall for the group here. Okay, so our next slide was, we had an open-ended response that said, what would you like? And there were four predominant themes that I really pulled out that people talked about, and there were some details in there that I think will help with conference topics as we explore that as a committee. But one of the topics that we saw was mentoring, and you'll see the response to the survey there. People are very interested in being mentored and mentoring, and so there was a lot of opportunity to discuss that. Another thing that women responded to was about the career-family balance. And some people responded into childcare and opportunities to work better on the balance, but then also a lot of time the childcare falls on the women, right? Yeah? I know it does at my house. I don't know about your house, but it does on my house. My husband's hands-on, but still. So how do we balance all the work that we've got going on and being the best parent that we can be, right? So that's something that's important to us. The other thing that people talked about, which was interesting, was just career development. They talked about specific career development opportunities, topics that they wanted to see. These were some that they talked about. How do I advance? What is my career pathway? How do I get from this position to that next position that I'm looking for, and how do I do that? Some people talked about how do I take on non-positional leadership roles. So if you're not a director, if you're not a chair of a committee, what are some non-positional leadership opportunities for you that you can have on campus? And we've talked about being involved in committees on campus and how that helps you network and how that helps build your leadership skills. So we can flush that out a little bit more as we break into our table topics. And the last thing was I'll just call it skill workshops. People put in ideas of topics that they wanted to see, and these were some of the highlights that we saw. Some cultural diversity and fitting in, doing some goal setting, networking and community involvement, and then they talked about women empowerment and advocacy. And so how do we do that for ourselves, and how do we work with a group of people to move women forward again? So these were some of the open-ended topics that we saw in the survey here that resulted in those four main themes. And then I think I have a couple more slides, and then we'll get you all talking to each other, okay? So as I mentioned, the survey results, people were very interested in mentoring somebody. 74% wanted to mentor somebody, 82 wanted to be matched with a mentor. And then as a part of our initiative, we had looked at and talked about involving student leaders and possibly mentoring with them. It's not a part of the ACES formal network, but it is something that we were looking at doing at our own institution, because developing our women student leaders is important to us as well. And so 66% said that they'd be willing to do that with our student leaders. And then, when are we gonna meet, right? That's like, oh my gosh, trying to come up with a calendar event, and then people who do that, it's really hard, right? So you can see it's kind of all over the place here, but I was really surprised that Fridays were the best days, right? So I'm gonna say I broke it out again, everybody. I thought, well, we don't have a lot of classes on Friday. Do faculty wanna meet on Friday? And so I looked at faculty, I looked at career, I looked at technical. Everybody still likes Friday. So it was like Friday lunch, Friday afternoon, and Friday morning were the best times. Okay, so outside of Friday, then you can see that Tuesday and Thursdays, bring your own lunch. So a lunchtime were the best times that we responded here. We still want to hear from you. It doesn't mean that we're gonna be doing all our events on a Friday, like today. But we do want to hear what are some of those best times. But those are the responses that we saw from the survey in regards to that. And I think that's the end of the survey results. So it gives you a snapshot of what we heard from everybody as far as the responses that we got. But what we want to do moving forward now is give you an opportunity. We're going to pause the stream here. So Altamont, Oviedo, you're going to have this discussion on your own so you don't hear us talking, probably not exciting for you. And then we'll reconvene in a little bit and share information and talk a little bit. So what we're going to do now is at your tables, you'll see pieces of paper with topics on there. And there are different ones on there. So as a table, we'll work with you as committee members to come around and check in. But we want to hear from you what we would like to do moving forward. So I'll pause and see if there are any questions about what we're doing. They're all different. Like I said, pick one, pick two. We're going to take a few minutes, so brainstorm and talk amongst yourselves about what we can be doing to support you.
let's go back. Let's go to the next to last slide. Keep going. Oh, keep going. Oh, maybe, yeah. No, not that slide, no, the other one. That one. Go, yeah, right there. Closing remarks. Okay, so I am now going to introduce Michael McCurdy, who is going to come up and give, he and Dr. Kevin Jordan are going to give some closing remarks and kind of next steps.
Well, we want to thank everyone for coming today, especially those in Altamont and Oviedo for joining us. Thank you, Cecilia and Shaheen. Again, we're going to continue with our next steps beyond just this workshop that we had here today. So one of the things that we'd like you to do as part of the steering committee is to finish the survey we're going to be sending out, finish it by mid-December so Jan can collect the data and separate it by faculty in Oviedo and staff in Altamont and even those in Heathrow who may be joining us today. We're going to have, again, 2 workshops, as you noticed from the survey, so 2 in the springtime, probably January and late March will be those, so expect an email to come out from the steering committee about that. We're going to continue to collect ideas for events like this or that diverge from here for 2019 and 2020. Also, what was mentioned is the theater, if you look behind you, near the front door, or entrance I should say, is we're putting on a play, not we, but they're putting on a play over the next couple weeks called Uncommon Women, and the advertisement blurb reads, Uncommon Women and Others by Wendy Waterstein, which is about graduates of Mount Holyoke College gathering for an informal reunion in a Tony Award-winning play. It's insightful, affectionate comedy about women coming to grips with the rigors of contemporary society. Today's the 9th, right? So 9th and 10th, and the 15th and the 17th at 7:30 p.m., November 11th and 18th at 2 p.m. Tickets are already on sale, but for Seminole State employees, they are free. And therefore, if you would like to bring someone along with you, general admission is only $10, and senior admission is only $8 as well. Okay? Oh, see, even better. Awesome. Great. Okay. Dr. Jordan?
Okay, so I'd first like to revisit how we began the afternoon and ask if anybody was able to get signatures on every square on their bingo card. All right, round of applause. I don't know how many this would be, but 80% of the squares filled in, give or take, a lot of people. It's what, well, I figured someone would know. So I just wanted to give a round of thank yous as we close the event. And obviously, we'd like to extend our thanks again to Dr. Annie Becker and Dr. Georgia Lorenz, who have moved on with their days, but we do appreciate them joining us, which was very lovely. I would also like to give a special thank you to Dr. Lisa Valentino and Dr. Jan Lloyd-Leslie, who are co-chairing the committee, and Janet Balanoff, who really have made this happen. So I want to make sure we do that. And then, of course, thank the rest of my steering committee members, and especially our facilitators at Altamont and Oviedo, who really were able to make this a multi-campus event and make it successful for everybody. So we appreciate that as well. And then finally, I just wanted to add that we want to thank all of you, everyone who attended. And in particular, I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of you as we've been at the college, and you always inspire awe in me. But seeing everybody in the room together is just particularly humbling and inspiring, so let's keep this going. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. And thank you for all being here. There is plenty of food still out there, so you need to take some with you or sit and have some good time with colleagues and eat some more, because the college has paid for it, believe me. The other thing that has come up, but since we put our script together, is that we are also going to do, Women Moving Forward is going to sponsor a book club in the spring. Sabrina Deschner is going to facilitate a discussion of Lean In, the book on women and work by Sheryl Sandberg. And the library has ordered copies for every campus, not enough for everybody in this room. But the library will have some copies. Barbara will have copies in the faculty center that faculty can pick up. We are going to do it 5 Tuesdays at lunchtime. We're going to start it towards the end of January. So watch for an email about that. There'll be a Sign Me Up calendar event where you can sign up to participate. We hope that after we have a discussion about the book, there's an established thing called Lean In Circles, where there's a formal network that we can get involved with where they'll send us discussion topics and we can talk about issues around women in work after we've read the book. So those of you that might be interested in doing that, that's another opportunity for you to engage with our Women Moving Forward initiative. So watch for that email and watch for your opportunity to get the books, okay? Have a great weekend, everybody. Hope to see you at the play. Bye, Oviedo and Altamont.